This year marks the 80th anniversary of the end of the Second World War, as well as the U.S. Navy's 250th birthday. This made the annual USS South Dakota Day of Honor ceremony in Sioux Falls extra special. But as it turns out, it also came with protests against its keynote speaker. Parker Brown with our top story here tonight.
It was a tale of two crowds. On one side of the street, protests. On the other side of the street, a ceremony. Both of them honoring veterans, doing so in very different ways.
Honoring South Dakota vets and one of the most decorated ships of World War II, which bears the name of South Dakota, comes as a high privilege for Majority Leader Senator John Thune.
I'm grateful. I'm just grateful to the 68,000 South Dakotans who served in World War II and the tens of thousands who have served since and continue to serve our country. We have a great heritage in this state.
Across the way, protesters gathered in support of veterans too.
We support our vets!
They, however, were fired up to support them amidst what they believe to be Senator Thune dishonoring his oath to the U.S. Constitution and failing to protect the VA.
Thune should have ensured in the budget bill that funding was restored so that the staff could be at the prior levels, and additional legislation passed to protect our VA jobs, and he has done nothing. Instead, he has just been totally complicit with the Trump administration.
A few hundred were there to chant and cheer at the height of the protest. They say it's a sign of a growing movement of people concerned about what's going on in Washington.
As a result, you see hundreds of people out here today instead of one or two or three. And you hear the cars going up and down the street honking their horns. Why is that? Because we're a decent state, not just a red state. And people are worried about what's happening.
Back on the other side, the solemn ceremony focused on the achievements of those who sacrificed everything. Organizers of the protest planned to stay across the street out of respect. After all, they too were focused on veterans. There were some who crossed over to voice their disapproval anyway. Senator Thune knew the protests were happening.
I understand people have different views of the issues. That's part of our political process. That's democracy. And they have every right to speak out and protest. But I've got to keep my head down and do the work that I think the people of South Dakota elected me to do.
It may be difficult to find common ground, but regardless of what side of the aisle, or in this case, what side of the street you're on, we honor the freedoms our veterans fought for. The freedom to speak, the freedom to gather, and the freedom to protest. In Sioux Falls, Parker Brown, Dakota News Now.